Dear viewers, welcome to the exciting world of Nadia's Alpha Awakening, where the shadow of the supernatural has long loomed over the lives of our characters. Join us on Nadia's mysterious and dangerous journey, as this young woman discovers her true power in a world of werewolves and hidden desires. This is EP4 of Nadia's Alpha Awakening. Thank you for your subscription and likes. You can leave your thoughts in the comments section. Chapter 37. He steps in and my first reflex is to take a few steps back. You can leave. He tells the guy that found me and he does with no questions asked. Saint steps forward and I think he's coming to me, so I take a few more steps backwards. Turns out he wasn't coming to me and he just stops in the middle of the room. Why are you mad at me? He asks and I swallow down hard. I'm not mad. I tell him. Stop lying to me. His voice of authority comes back. Why should I? You're a master of that yourself. I tell him and his eyebrows frown, giving me a confused look. I saw you guys kissing. I clarify. That's not what it looked like. It looked like you had your tongue down her throat, Malik. What did it look like to you? I raise my voice a little. Is that why you're mad at me? Because she kissed me. He steps forward. I'm mad at you because you lied to me. I scream and push him, taking him back 2 steps. You're a liar. I go to push him again, but he grabs both my wrists and I start fighting him off. Get off me. My voice is stern and I'm no longer shouting, but even I can hear how hurt I am. He steps back, letting go of my wrists, and I watch his eyes move away from mine. I can't do this. I'm upset. Have you seen me upset? I haven't seen me upset. I don't want to be upset. I'm sorry. No. You don't get to apologize. You told me you wanted me and I believed you. You told me you would drop her and I believed you, but the second I turn my back you have your hands all over her. I was never your first choice. I take in a shaky breath, no longer able to hide my hurt. You've got it all wrong. He tells me. What's it like then? Huh? 'Cause I don't want this. I don't want to feel like this. You don't get to play the victim. He says after a beat of silence. I have done nothing but respect your wishes since the day you stepped foot in school. I put up with you. I should have put you into submission when I had the chance, but I didn't. You ask and I give, and what do? You push me away. I shut up a little, taken back from his words. You think you have it hard. I had to give up pack history for you. I went against my own morals for you. I didn't ask for that. Yes, you did. He towers over me. You can't stand here and tell me that I don't want you. You're all I've ever wanted. His eyes pin on mine, leaving me totally speechless. I've dropped her. I roll my eyes at his comment. Stop it. He take my face into his hands. I reach up to his hands and remove them, not wanting to ruin my nicely done face. Nadia. He snaps at me. Stop fighting me, please. I'm not. I just don't want you to ruin my makeup. I tell him and he chuckles, lightening the mood a little. Is that better? He puts a hand around my throat and pulls me closer. I nod in response. We're both harsh on each other, that's why it's so hard. I don't want you to give up on me, not now. His voice goes into a soft whisper. Is this love? I whisper, turning into a mushy puppy. Could be. He sighs and I watch his eyes shift to my lips. Why'd you come here? To be honest, I didn't even know where I was going. I took a left and saw some stairs. I clear my throat. How do you know I was here? I refer to the party. Your alpha cologne. He smiles. I can smell you from a mile away. He goes silent and so do I. His eyes fill with an emotion I've yet to see, and then his lips part. You make me happy. He says, and I match his words with his expression. Let's get out of here. He moves away from me and grabs my blazer and shoes. He laces our fingers together and opens the wine cellar door with my things in his other hand. I walks out on the cold marble floor to see his beta still there. He glances over to me, then bows his head at his alpha. Where are we going? I stay close to Saint. Let me show you. He takes me up the stairs I came down from, and then to the front door. We're not coming back, so I'm guessing you should tell your dad you're with me. He hands me my blazer and heels and I put them on. I slip into my heels and put my blazer on, then make my way back to the living room with Saint lingering behind me. I go into the room full of high-ranked alphas and start to go on my hunt for my father. He's over there. Saint tells me and I move in their direction. I see my father talking to Alpha Vincent and I kind of feel like an outcast interrupting their conversation, so I turn to Saint. I nod over to his father and I don't know if he gets the hint, but he goes over to his dad and pull him aside. I take my chance and go after my dad. I get his attention and he turns to me. There you are. He smiles. I heard you were doing such a good job at hiding. Yeah, well, I laugh. I'm leaving with Saint. I get right to it. He's my mate, by the way. My dad's eyebrows rise. I'll explain later. I go to hug him, then let go, turning back to Saint, who's finished with his dad. Saint sees me coming, then does a little smile. Hello, Alpha Vincent. I acknowledge his father, and then Saint take my hand, pulling me away. Chapter 38. We pull up in front of a massive mansion and my jaw immediately drops. What the actual fuck? Saint stops his car and I practically jump out when he does. I can't shake that fact that this house is so lit outside when it's probably empty inside. What the hell is this? I turn to Saint, not able to hide the child in me anymore. Do you know how big of a dream this is for me? To have something like this with my mate so we can freely run around with our child. If I have one. This is mine. He moves to me, taking my hand and leads me up some porch steps before reaching the front door. He takes out a set of keys and then opens the double doors, letting us in. My father gave this to me. For my Luna and I. I turn to him with wide eyes. So you haven't been here yet? I ask. I know a little bit. He nods. I know where the bedroom is. He smiles to me. Of course you do. I follow him up some stairs, passing a kitchen I'll be sure to get to tomorrow. We pass some open bedroom until we stop in front of some more double doors. This is our room. He tells me, opening the doors. Oh my eyes. This is twice the size of my bedroom, and my bedroom is pretty damn big. I let go of Saint's hand and take my heels off. My stomach does a whole flip watching him move towards the bed, and I remember why I'm here. My feet meet the soft carpet and I curl my toes in them before following behind Saint. He sits down, leaving me standing in front of him. Even though he's sitting down, he still manages to top my height, always. He takes my left hand and kisses it like a prince does to a princess. The gesture makes me smile, and his eye looks up at me, glowing in alpha red. My heart flutters for reason I can't understand, and the alpha in me fires up. I've been avoiding this for the longest, and now it's all I want. I lean in, cupping his face, kissing his soft lips. His hands run up my thighs and then he pulls my legs up on the bed, making me straddle on him. My core is basically pressed against his groin and I can feel him getting more turn on. I warp my arms around his neck, occasionally running my hands through his hair as I feel his hands on my hips, and they slowly move upwards. He reaches my shoulder and I move my hands away from his neck, still kissing him as he takes my blazer off. I feel his hands make their way back to my hips and I take my chance to take his black blazer off too. No way I'm the only one getting naked. He helps me take it off, but he's the one to throw it across the room. I feel him wrap an arm around my waist before he flips us over, putting me under him. My eyes open to see his eyes still glowing red. He pulls me down, then leans down towards my neck and starts leaving soft kisses, which makes my breathing start to act up. He moves my head in another direction, kisses the other side of my neck, and I start to unbutton his shirt. I take his shirt off and then he pulls away to take his tank top off, leaving his abs exposed. Okay, Alpha, I see you. I smile as he goes back to kissing my neck. He puts a hand by my head, balancing him, and another he uses to cup my breast. I kinda shake to his touch and I think he feels it as he slows down to a stop and looks at me with his eyes still red. He sits me up and untucks my silk shirt and pulls it over my head, making my curls bounce and revealing my lacy bralette. I watch his eyes scan my breast and then he goes to take my Gucci belt off. Wait. I stop him and he looks at me with concerned eyes. You have to take yours off too. I tell him and watch a smirk play on his lips. He unbuckles my belt and then slips me out my shorts. He goes to do the same to his but doesn't take his pants off. Instead they hang dangerously low on his defined V-line. In here, you fall into submission. He whispers to me, then puts our lips back together. His body weight makes me lean back onto the bed and he pulls me down a little. Time lets the kiss turn into a wet, messy one, and then I feel Saint's hands run up my lacy bra, and he pulls away, putting 2 fingers in my mouth. I take a fast and clever guess on where he wants to put those before I feel him slowly start to massage my butt. My head tilts backwards as I hum a moan, feeling the new sensation between my legs. I feel him tease me leisurely, and then he puts a finger in my, making my moans turn up a volume. Saint lips press against mine, muffling my moans as his hand starts to pick up pace. The feeling starts to become more pleasurable as my legs start to shake at the friction of his fingers in me. Continue. I even start to whine, feeling my orgasm come over me. My toes curl as I squirt everywhere. I open my eyes to see a satisfied Saint and he leans down to kiss me. His kisses go from my lips to my cheek, then down my neck. I'm too busy trying to catch my breath again. I'm hard enough if you're ready. He whispers in my ear and then kisses my neck again. I'm ready. I tell him and he puts our lips back together. Chapter 39. I'd admit at first it was weird and painful because apparently I wasn't wet enough, so we had to stop for a second, but I just decided I was being a big baby and had to stick it up and told him to keep going. From there he just kept going and going and going. I don't even know how many condoms we actually used. But he took my makeup off and let me sleep in his shirt form last night. I cuddle next to a warm body and feel him pull my closer. Something in him clicked last night, I kinda saw it flash in his eyes. We were on round 3 I believe, and he was railing me hard, and I took it 'cause daddy didn't raise no bitch. I was trying me best not to scream but kept screaming since it was honestly too much for me, but his stroke stated to slow down and he started planting kisses all over my face like he did in Fiji waters. I watched him as he kissed me and I saw how dazed his alpha was. He even asked me to say he name and well I moans it. Numerous time. I start to move out his grip and he gently lets me go. I roll over and sit on the edge of the bed before hopping out. For reasons I cannot understand my legs give up on me, sending me down with a noticeable thud. Nadia. I hear Saint's tired and husky voice call out. Yeah, I roll on my side feeling my sore self. Where did you go? I hear the sheets shuffle and I pop my head up to see him now sitting up. Right here I smile and he looks over at me. I'm admiring the carpet. It's really nice. I nod and start to get up. My core is still in pain, almost like when you do exercise and the next day you feel it. I need to go pee, I tell him and wobble my way to some doors. I walk into a beautifully lit bathroom. The floors is cold but has a marble design throughout it. The sink is at least 20 feet, not including the additional drawers attached to it. I walk past the bathtub that has a chandelier hanging over it. If one of us is in there, it's game over. The bathtub is caged by 4 large stone tubes for support, and then there's a mesh curtain hanging around it, not really covering anything. I move towards the back a little and finally spot the toilet. I rush to it, releasing myself, and nothing feels better. There's also one of those but cleaner things, another toilet, a thing where the guys pee and all that is evenly devised. I take it all in, not really believing I'm here. My bathroom isn't even like this, so it's a lot for me. My wolf picks up soft footsteps, making me finish and wipe myself before flushing. I meet him halfway and go to wash my hands. I dry my hands on a nearby towel. Are you okay? Saint gets my attention. Yeah. I nod as his hands make their way around my waist. I rest my head on his bare chest and warp my arms around his waist, pulling him close. Is this too fast? His heat vibrates as he talks. I just gotta get used to it, that's all. I say into his chest, turning my head towards the mirror. I look so safe in his arms and I also feel it too. I close my eyes, feeling his warm body against mine, but the feeling of him stepping away takes me by surprise. He moves towards the bathtub and turns the faucet on. I listen to the water pour out as I watch him tie the mesh curtains out the wash, giving us a little entrance. I witness his boxers go and then he goes in, making the water rise. His whole body goes under and then he comes out with messy wet hair. I step up the marble steps, then sit on the edge, dipping my legs in the warm water. I start to unbutton the shirt I have on as Saint moves towards me. I take the shirt off, completely going nude in front of him. His hands work their way up my thighs, then he grabs my waist, putting me in the water with him. He turns the faucet off and then retreats his step, swimming backwards with mine in his arms. We come to a stop and he sits on a step, I think. He lifts me, making me straddle on him. I feel his manhood rub against my stomach as I lace my fingers behind his head. He reaches behind him, grabbing a loofah and soap that I didn't even see there. I pull away, letting him rub the two together as they create bubbles. He puts the soap down, then takes my hand. He rubs the loofah on the back of my hand and starts to scrub me. He works his way up my arm and I watch how concentrated he is. I wonder how much damage I've done for us to be here. I'd admit I didn't want anything to do with him at first, but then he just proved me wrong. He showed me he can be human sometimes. I just kept denying it and he kept persisting and pushing me to believe until I finally gave in and then feel too deep, but here we are. Together. Do you think our parents are okay with this? I ask him as he scrubs my chest. Yes, why wouldn't they be? He moves to my shoulders. I actually think my mother knew you were my mate before I did. Explains why she's so nice to me. Chuckle. Or you're just an approachable person. He smiles, moving my hair behind my back to keep scrubbing. Chapter 40. I finish eating and then do our dishes. I dry my hands, then go on my hunt to find Saint, who's gone wandering off. Babe. I shout, going up the stairs, and make my way to our room. I find him talking on the phone with his back to me as he looks out the windows. I said no. Then postpone it. What do you mean I can't postpone it? His voice goes into the authority voice he only uses on me to get my attention. Send 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐬 as my replacement. He orders as I make my way to giving him a hug from behind. I forgot he had alpha duties. Fine. Okay, I got it. He hangs up and I make my way around to face him. Is everything okay? I look up at him and he leans down kissing my forehead. I have to go to this stupid conference, it's like 7 hours away from here and He stops himself, my heart drops at he knows that he'll be away. We just started getting along and now he had to leave. I'll be back before you know it. When do you leave? I hate how disappointed I sound, he's an alpha and he has duties, suck it up. Well, I have to leave now because I have to get there before night falls, he explains. How long will you be gone? I don't know. You don't know. I whine, pulling away from him. Hey, don't do that. He grabs my hands and laces our fingers together. Listen, I won't be gone for long and I'll come back. I could never leave you. His words make my heart flutter a little and I nod. He leans in, putting our lips together. Saint drops me off at my house and then leaves. It hasn't even been 2 minutes and I dread the distance between us. I take the elevator up and the doors open to home sweet home. I step in, meeting 5 pairs of eyes. I freeze in my spot, fearing that I did something wrong. Did I? Tomas comes up to me and we move to a side. What happened? I look over his shoulder to my dreaded father. Your mother went into labor last night. What? I whisper, totally confused. When last night? Why wasn't I called or something? I texted you 3 times actually. He tells me and I touch my back pocket, getting my phone out and start reading my notifications. I got 2 calls from Bailey, 3 messages from Tomas, and Tilly even snapped me. Shit, my phone was on do not disturb. I tuck hair behind my ear, opening my messages. What were you doing? I ignore his questions and the fact that my heart just fluttered again. Is she still here? How's she doing? I look back up at Tomas. She's still in labor and that's all we know. He tells me. How long have you been here? Ever since yesterday. Great. I move towards the kitchen. I start to get out a few plate and cups and make brunch for everyone here. I serve them and then take a seat by Bailey and a sleeping Tilly. My wolf hearing pick up the painful grunts and deep breaths that's going on upstairs. This isn't my first rodeo. I've been here before, waiting for Bailey to pop out and then Tilly and now baby number 4. Now you need to shift back. Someone says, but I recognize that voice. That must be Kelly, our werewolf doctor. She's practically been here my whole life. I hear Mom growl, almost like she's frustrated at Kelly. I want my husband. My mother's voice breaks. She's speaking, which means she managed to shift to human. I glance over at my father, who's staring into thin air as Saint Mother rubs his back. She's here, by the way. Kelly, get me my husband. I didn't have to use my wolf hearing to hear that. My mother has never once raised her voice at us, not even our father. I've only heard her scream 2 times in the past, and that was to deliver Bailey and Tilly. This is the 3rd time. Leah's a beautiful, strong mother. She might not be my biological mother, but she's all I've got and I'm very grateful. She's the definition of cool, calm and collective. She would bat an eyelash even if you were screaming in her face. Something Bailey picked up. He's right downstairs. Kelly tries reassuring my mom. Deep breaths, Leah. Deep breaths. I hear my mom take shaky deep breath and then I tune out. I think I've had enough of that. My eyes find their way back to my father's, who's still staring into thin air. Poor him. I don't know much about mate bonds, but I know for sure your mate can feel what you feel, meaning my dad is probably really disturbed right now. I tried taking some time to get some shut eye since I didn't really get any last night for obvious reasons. I turn to my side, leaning on Bailey's shoulder, and close my eyes. The first image that comes to mind is me in the passenger seat of Saint's car. I don't even think he knows I'm here. I miss him so bad that my mind's starting to create dreams and fantasies about him. Like, is it this bad? I look over to him. He has one hand on the wheel and the other on his gear stick. I watch his ice blue eyes pin the road and how his dark hair hangs over his forehead a little. I would like nothing more than for this to be reality so he could just grab my hand or something. But the fantasy soon ends as a black coat covers my subconscious and I hear someone calling my name. Nadia. The voice says again and jump awake. I blink my eyes into focus and see it's Bailey that's waking me up. Need you upstairs. What? I rub my eyes. Now. She rushes me and I stumble, getting up and walk towards the stairs. Chapter 41. I knock on the door and no one opens up to me. I just hear a very severe come in. So I do. I push the door open to see my mother on her side and Kelly, a redhead with big brown eyes, towering over her. Grab those towel. Kelly instructs me and I turn to where she's pointing and grab as much towels as I can. Leah, I'm going to need you to sit up for this. Kelly, tell my mom as I drop the towel nearby. Come on. Kelly whispers as my mom starts crying and trying to breath. This is chaotic. Give it to me. She reaches out a hand and I just give her a towel. I watch her put it on the floor and I keep handing her towels. I watch her make a carpet of towels and then her attention goes back to my mother. I watch her practically drag my mom out of bed, and then she helps her down on her knees. My mom leans her front on the side of the bed while scrunching the sheets. In all honesty, I'd rather be in my fantasy dream with Saint than here, watching my mom trying to push a child out of her. Kelly rushes away from my mom and goes and grabs a syringe. Well, I think it's a syringe. It's basically the size of my head, making my eyes pop out and my jaw drop. With no mercy, she just stabs the injection in my mom's back, sending her screaming. I grimace, feeling the pain by just looking at it. Jesus Christ. I whispers to myself, holding my stomach. Exhibit B to why I want no kids. 𝐏𝐤𝐬𝐬, you have to start pushing. Kelly tells my mom and everything goes silent. Mom has her head buried in her hands. Yeah, you really need to start pushing. Kelly repeats, but I can tell something's not right. Kelly. I move to them and reach out to my mom, moving hair out her face. I think she passed out. I turn to Kelly and note her wide eyes. Put her down. She pulls my mother to her. Nadia, help me put her down. I knock back into reality and start helping her put my mother on her back. I support her head with my hand, slowly putting it down. Kelly grabs a tray violently, making everything drop. The sound of each metal utensil echoes the room as she picks up a sharp knife. Do you faint at the sight of blood? Air. She doesn't even need my reply, she just goes diving for a glass jar. She grabs some blue medical gloves and puts them on before opening the jar. An unpleasant familiar smell wanders in the air, making me cover my nose with my shirt. Is that wolfsbane? My voice is muffled by the shirt over my nose. It'll keep the wound open long enough for me to get the baby out. She dips the knife into the jar, then quickly closes it. I watch her pull my mom's loose nightgown up so I can't see anything. I gently brush hair out my mom's face. She looks so tired, like exhausted. She's also red as hell, which isn't a good look on her. With all the respect, of course. Take the baby. Kelly gets my attention and I do as I'm told, dropping my mom's head with care and going to take the baby. Oh my gosh. My voice full of repugnance as I cover my mouth, trying not to be rude. Why is there so much blood? I almost gag sitting down. I think I might throw up. I cover my mouth again. I watch Kelly cut the umbilical cord and give me the baby. Why isn't it crying? I look up at her with concern. She puts the baby in my arms, then dives for her equipment. Turn it upside down and flick its feet, she says with her back turned to me. My eyes drop to the dull bluish-gray baby. I take its feet, turning it upside, and start flicking the baby's feet. Nothing happens. I keep flicking, putting more force into it. Come on. I start shaking the baby and then the best sound bounces off the walls. What? I quickly flip the baby right side up and grab the cleanest towel nearby. I get up, taking the now crying baby with me. Dry it and keep it warm. I walk over to my parents' bed where my mom was and place the baby down. The baby kicks and cries as I try wipe it down. I pass the umbilical cord and see the cutie's little membrane virile. It's a boy. I see the baby shiver a little and he starts crying harder. I stop examining his pee-pee and grab a clean towel and start wrapping him in it. He clams down a little as I carry him and rock us sideways softly. Easy, easy. I hear Kelly say behind me and I turn in her direction. I get up, making my way over to them, and remember too late to why I moved locations. My mother is very much conscious but still very much bleeding. Where's my baby? She whispers and I step around Kelly's equipment and kneel down to my mother. Mom, it's a boy, I tell her, reaching out my arms for her to take the baby. She attempts really weakly to hold her child, so I do most of the supporting. It's a boy. Her voice breaks as she leans down, planting soft kisses on his face. At last he shut up by now, a real loudmouth he is. Talk about the last one seeking attention. Chapter 42. Everyone gathers around my father with the newborn baby in his arms. The baby hasn't been named yet, making me question whether it's up to the Luna or the Alpha to name to child. I wonder who named me. My mother hasn't been down in a couple of hours, but the essential is that she's conscious and breathing. After the situation we had upstairs, I'm glad I'm out that room. I still don't believe every woman has to push out a living being out of them, by choice obviously. But I could never choose that path. I get it, babies are the cutest things ever, and it's more so of a blessing than anything else, but I just can't do it. First of all, I'm really petite and a baby that size coming out of me will rip me apart. Second of all, I highly doubt I'll be a good mother. I'm just not skilled like that. Thirdly, I don't know if Saint would even want me to carry his kids. And lastly, I'm just not up to it. Not even in the future. The fear of dying during or after birth has now traumatized me. As fuck. That's how I lost my mother, and I don't want to risk leaving me children motherless, so I don't want kids. Nadia, I hear my name being called and turn in that direction. My dad comes towards me and my eyes drop to the baby in his arms. You alright? You've gone a little quiet. No, I'm good. I shake my head, knocking out of my thoughts. He moves towards me and sits beside me. Have you named him? I rub my finger across the newborn's soft pale skin. We have a name, but we've decided to throw a little party for this little one so he can have a proper introduction. He tells me, lightly rocking the baby. That's cute. I smile at him and absorb him for a little. Your first son. How do you feel about that? Finally. He chuckles and I join him. Not that I don't love you girls, it's just that. Yeah, Dad, I know. I nod, feeling the headache I thought I got rid of by chugging water. Come back. You okay? My father notices my pain. I told you, Dad, I'm fine. I shake my head, making everything go dizzy. When I open my eyes back up, out of nowhere I feel a palm smack on my forehead, almost sending me flying off the couch. Jesus Christ. I gasp, holding on for real life. You're boiling up, Nadia. My dad moves closer to me, busting my personal bubble. He cups my face, turning it to my left, then does the same thing in my right direction. When he finally lets go, I give him a what? Look, but he doesn't seem to get it and just leaves. What the fuck just happened? Did he just inspect my neck and leave? Why the hell would he do that? I watch my dad leave and Bailey come in the same direction. She plants herself opposite me and follows my gaze. What? She looks back at me. Nothing apparently. I shrug, leaning back onto a fluffy pillow. I take a few deep breaths, feeling the headache come back to me, but this time it feels more like excruciating throbs in my forehead. This time I put on a better poker face, not letting an ounce of my pain on the surface, and it works. Not even minutes later, Tilly comes skipping in with Tomas not far behind. The whole gang. Great. Hey, how was the party yesterday? Tilly sits next to Bailey with a very familiar blue tie-dye crop top. It was fine, not that great to be honest. I clench my jaw to stop me from smiling. Last night was everything but fine. I take another good look at the shirt she's wearing and realize why it looks so familiar. That's mine. Why are you wearing my top? Huh. Her eyes widen and she looks down at the top she's wearing, like say she didn't put it on. 𝐿𝐢𝐧𝐚𝐫. You can't speak English now. Bailey gave it to me. She blurts out. Snitch. Bailey doesn't even try to mumble. I gave it to you because you asked for a blue shirt. She turns to me. I was supposed to put it back. She turns back to Tilly. And you were never supposed to wear that again. You wouldn't like it if I went into your closet and took a shit. I tell Bailey. None of my clothes would fit you. All of your clothes would fit me. I correct her. I'm small, remember. She's like 5 feet 8 inches. I'm sure I could find something. I watch Bailey glare at Tilly, making her bow her head. My eyes glance over at Tomas and he shakes his head with a small smirk. Just wash it, then give it back. I tell Tilly. I take the silence as an invitation to look back outside onto our balcony and observe the night view. It's official, been a day and a half since Saint went on his little conference. A day and a half. I couldn't stop flipping, tossing and turning last night. I think I napped at the most. I guess it's fine since tomorrow we're going back to school, and the party afterwards. I'll be so drained my body would have no choice but to shut down into a peaceful sleep coma. I just don't fucking get it. I've tried everything to avoid him, and now I'm here, particularly sitting in a pool of lust, waiting for him to come back. Wanting nothing more but for him to touch my body. His hands on my throat and waist. His eyes on me. His focus on me. I want him to whisper in my ear so I can feel his hot breath heating me up as I'm trying to breathe in between strokes. I just want him. I need him. Chapter 43. At least this time my alarm wake me up and I drag myself out of bed. I take my sloth self to my bathroom and turn on the cold water. I really need to get some pills for this headache I have. I undress myself and then put a foot in the cold water. Too cold. I turn it up, making it warm, and then step in. I let the water consume me, getting my hair wet too. Once my body is used to the water temperature, I turn it down, feeling the cold water droplets beat my face like tiny painless needles. My mind starts to wander back to Saint, and I've had enough of that. I'm so tired of feeling an empty void in me just because he's no longer around. I'm tired of the constant crashing of emotions I don't recognize overwhelm me every time I think about him. I'm tired of his absence. The anger and frustration builds up in me, and I let myself feel these two common emotions. I expect me to hurry this shower up and just rush to school, wanting this daydream to end, but I kinda just stand there. I feel water run down my cheeks and into the corner of my mouth. I lick my lips, tasting the salty water. Am I crying? No, that's gotta be the shower water. I sob escapes my lips and I cover my mouth, remembering I live in a house full of wolves with wolf hearing. Yep, I'm definitely crying. Well, more so Nia. She's kinda torn about the whole Saint leaving for his conference thing. I mean, I am upset, but she upset. Believe it or not, I get my crying ass to school and meet Tomas at my locker. 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐬. He greets me. Hi, I try force a smile, but even I can't right now. How are you? He asks as I open my locker. Hot, like really hot. I throw my bag in, not even getting my things for my first lesson, which happens to be chemistry. At least I can let this class pass by without doing anything. To say the least, the school day was as dreadful as any other without Saint. I try make it through my lessons with a clear mind, but every time I try I just think about him. When the school bell announces out release, I take off with Tomas and make our way back home. Today marks the 4th day and Saint should be coming home. My drive home consists of me trying not to throw up. I think I'm way too nervous in seeing him again. I pick up Bailey and Tilly on the way so they don't have to take the bus. Can we go out for ice cream before dinner? Tilly asks since it's so flipping hot. You got money for ice cream? Bailey asks her, making me smile. I wasn't asking you. Tilly stares Bailey down, making Tomas smile. Despite their little argument, I actually pull up at the nearest ice cream shop and we all get out. I lock my car behind me as we make our way to shop. I get my normal double scoops of vanilla while Bailey and Tilly decided to customize by adding toppings and different flavors. Tomas keeps it simple, going with a chocolate cone, and then we all sit down taking a booth. So now that you're mated with the Alpha born, I look up at Bailey as she starts talking. Does that mean we'll be accepted, or do we have to go through a trial? First of all, what makes you think I'm mated with an Alpha born? You have a different scent wandering on you. I look over at Tomas, but he just continues to lick his ice cream. Now, I don't know much about sex, but something definitely happened. I let out a harsh cough that sounds like I'm choking. What? You had sex? Tilly turns to me. Good luck explaining that one. Tomas says before chuckling. No. I'm quick to answer. I mean, it's none of your business. Does Mom know? Tilly questions. No. She doesn't. Nay. I shake my head. We are not having this conversation. I move my hand in a circular motion. This conversation ends here. Now, we do not talk about my sex life. So you admit you have one? Jesus Christ, Bailey. All I can hear is Tomas trying to hide his scoffs and high-pitched wheezes. Cut it out. I snap at him, but all I get from him is a playful smile. I got back to eating my ice cream, not for a second missing the childish smiles Tomas and Bailey exchange. Can she really smell Saint off of me? Hold up, does that mean my fucking parents could smell Saint off of me? Hell, Saint's mother can smell her own son off of me. Great. Just great. Can't believe you had sex. Tilly says, breaking the silence, making both Tomas and Bailey burst out laughing. I just roll my eyes. In my bodycon navy blue dress, I move past a body of alphas with a baby bottle in hand and make my way to the kitchen. On my way there, I pass blue balloons, blue glitter, blue banners, a blue cake, and even people in different shades of blue. The party my father wanted to host for the new baby boy is finally happening, and I'm on heating the bottle duty. I enter the kitchen where all the Lunas are gathered, chattering and gossiping. Most of them I recognize as Mom's friends, other I don't even know. Excuse me. I move past the Luna to get to the bottle warmer machine. When I get to it, I refill it up with water, plug it in, then let it boil a little before putting the bottle in. The sound of joyful laughter and loud conversations ring in my ears. I can even hear the baby's soft moans from the kitchen. Ding, I look down, but the flashing light is still red. Must be the elevator. More guests, great. Nadia, I look up, seeing Bailey. She's in a flowery summer dress. There's someone in your room. Then tell them to leave then. How the hell do you expect me to tell an Alpha-born to leave? She uses her hands to talk. On behalf of Alpha Nadia, I ask you respectfully to leave her room. I say like it's the most obvious thing. Do you think I've tired that? You know what? I'ma do it myself. Ding, this time when I look down, it's the machine. Chapter 44. I pick the bottle up and shake it in my hand before moving back into the crowd. I turn my focus to a familiar blonde moving to sit down with her little minions behind her. Even though I don't want it to, my heart drops at the sight of her. Whose mother dragged her child to this? I try shake it off and make my way to my mother, who's in the second living room where there's not a lot of people, probably her, Saint's mom, and a few other mothers. I knock on the door softly before entering. I got the bottle. I walk in and hand it to my mother. I look around the empty room. Where are the mothers gone? Thank you, she gives me a soft smile. She's in a better state. Less bloody and no one has fainted yet. Come here, I really need to, it can wait. She tells me here, take him. I move to her and bend a little, taking the newborn, careful with his head. Yes ma, I know. I rest the head in the nook of my elbows and start rocking the baby. He moves a little in my arms before his ice blue eyes open, looking up at me. Well, that makes two of us. I was starting to wonder when or if one of my sibling will inherit my father's eyes. A brunette with blue eyes, he's going to break hearts. Please don't name him something that starts with a J. I turn to my mom, who's wiping down her dress. She lets out a soft chuckle. Jerome's a nice name. No mom. No it isn't. I shake my head as she moved to me, then takes the infant out my hands with care. I watch her do so, taking in everything from her slick back her to her white cute slippers. If you don't mind, I gotta go ask Alpha to leave my room. I turn, locking eyes with her, then open the door, going back into the flood of people. Unlike Saint, we don't have an arcade where we can throw kids, so imagine how many little alphas and betas are running around. A little girl literally zooms past me just as I was thinking about it. I focus back to the stairs and then start to go up them. At the top, I pull my dress down a little as it rid up. When I get to my room, I see my bathroom door wide open with the light beaming from it. Excuse me, Alpha. I call out, stepping in my room. I'd ask you respectfully to leave my room as all bedrooms are off limits. If you'd like, I can lead you back downstairs to where the party is. After a second of silence, I don't get a response, so I listen in for a heartbeat. Okay, so someone is definitely there. Just as I'm about to repeat myself, a tall figure in a tux walks out, stopping by the door frame. I'ma ask you respectfully to come over here. I feel each of my cheeks curl up into a grin. I turn quickly, closing my door, then practically run, jumping into Saint's arms. My impact takes him back a step. His arms warp around my hips and my legs warp around his waist and my arms around his neck. You're back. I whisper, taking in his scent I've missed so much. I feel a rapid wind at the back of my hair as he spins us around. You're back. I hug him tighter. God, I've missed you. He buries his head in the nook of my neck as I run my pretty white nails in the back of his hair. We stay like this. Just feeling his chest against mine is enough. Listening to his deep breaths and his rapid heartbeat. It's enough. He moves us back suddenly, then places me on my bathroom counter. I sit as his hands run up my body until they cup my face. His baby blue eyes look down at me. I see Fiji in his eyes. I see the nights we spent sleeping in each other's arms. I see a leader. I see Saint. In a blink, his eyes are glowing red, unleashing his alpha. I do the same, letting Mia's alpha go too. I shut my eyes, feeling his soft lips against mine. The rapid impact sends me leaning back for a second, but I kiss him back. Our first kiss wasn't as great as this, but the electric tingles still linger on my lips. He pulls away, look down at me, but I just pull him back, and taking a little control, I feel a hand run through the back of my hair, and then he tugs on it, lightly angling it up towards him. He presses his lips harder on mine, and I take it with a lustful desire. My hands run up his arms, taking his tux off, and I throw it aside. His kisses start to push me down onto the cold counter, but I don't even acknowledge it. My attention is on his working hand that's rubbing my inner thigh, and his soft kisses he's planting on my neck, going down to my shoulder and collarbone. His lips start to move down, kissing the top of my breast, then he looks up at almost like he's signaling me, but we both know where he's going. When he starts kissing my inner thighs, my breathing begins to shake just thinking about it. His warm hand moves up my legs, pushing my dress up, and then he rests a hand on my stomach. The other is by my thigh, keeping my legs spread. I feel him teasing me, licking and sucking around my thigh, probably leaving hickeys only he can see. I can feel myself start to heat up at the torture making me drip so bad. I don't know if it's because he loves getting a reaction out of me, but his slow torment is something I want. Something I can handle. Chapter 45. Look at you. I open my eyes, looking at me in the mirror. Looking at us. Saint is behind me, pounding me from the back. His shirt is untucked and his chest is stuck to my back. I stand in front of him, leaning forward every time he penetrates. He moves hair out the way, then kisses my neck. You look good, baby, he says in my ear. You like the dress. I squeeze my hand into a fist. I don't get to do it, probably as his hands are on top of mine. Entwined. I love the dress, he kisses behind my shoulder, matter of fact. I love the dress so much I want to rip it off. I chuckle at that, but it's quickly followed by a moan. His vigorous trashing are merely bearable as he continues to rearrange my insides while watching me struggle to keep my mouth shut. I squeeze our hands again as I gasp for some more air, watching a side of his lip curl into a lecherous smirk. "You look desperate," he says to me through the mirror. I swallow down hard, feeling my knees buckle, nearly giving out. His pace picks up behind me, making my head hang, and I watch my hair move back and forth the faster we go. The tension rises, making my attempts to keep quiet almost fail. Just as I reach my climax, I feel a pang on the shoulder Saint's been kissing on all this time. I let out a mindless cry between pain and pleasure. Saint's quick to muffle it with his hand, smudging my caked-up face. I hang my head, feeling the exhaustion that comes with the mate bond after you mate. He removes his hand and I move my now free hands in front of me, leaning on them. I feel him pull out, making me almost curse out loud. He rests his head on my back and we stay like this for a second, collecting ourselves. I finally look up in the mirror, seeing the bite mark. He marked me. I should have seen it coming, but he still marked me. Not that I'm complaining or anything. How am I going to explain that to my parents? He looks at me through the mirror. It's pretty self-explanatory. I watch him pull his briefs back up before kissing me where he marked me. I shut my eyes, smiling to myself. "How was your trip?" I finally lean off of the counter and shimmy my lace-wet panties off and pull my dress down. I'm so jet-lagged. I watch him tuck his shirt in his trousers before he zips himself up. That wasn't my first impression. I feel his gaze on me, but I'm too busy grabbing my makeup bag from the drawer I opened. "I heard you weren't feeling yourself." He buckles his belt back on. "Does that mean you're—" He doesn't finish his sentence. I look over at him and his head turns to me. "Pregnant?" I raise an eyebrow. "No." I shake my head, going back to readjusting my makeup. "Did you take a test?" He puts his tux back on, then leans his back on the counter. "I don't need to take a test. I'm not pregnant. You know, it's not such a bad thing. Maybe not for you." I look over at him. His eyes are stern and stuck on me. "Can we talk about this when we're like in our 20s? Whenever you're ready." I hear him say, but I'm already looking at myself in the mirror. I brush my straightened hair out, brushing it all behind my ears. It'll be pretty obvious that I have the mark since I started the night without one and I'm finishing the night with one. I move to him, and before I'm even there, he pulls me in, letting his hands rest on my ass. "I think we'll make the cutest baby." "One." I ignore his question and fix his collar. One child was all my mother could give my father. With my fear of giving birth, he's lucky I want to give his ass a child. I run my hand through the back of his hair, then he leans in, puckering, and I kiss him gladly. We make it downstairs hand in hand. I'm a little thankful when no heads turn our way. No heads except Bailey's, who's always looking my way. "That it? I need to go find your father." Saint's words make my heart drop. "For what?" I ask behind him. "He wanted to see me." He turns, stopping. "I'll see you around." He leans down, giving me a quick peck on the cheek before letting go and getting dragged away by the mob of people. Where's he going? Nia sulks. Does he have to go now? Oh, shut up. I want to scream to her but keep myself composed. I move back towards the room my mother's in and knock before entering. "Mom." I drag it a little, walking into her, holding her sleeping child. "You don't need to say it, you're glowing." She tells me, looking up. "Oh, and he's marked you." She smiles and I glance over at my shoulder before looking back at her. "How much of it did you hear?" I sit, crossing my ankles. "Do you like the dress?" My eyes widen as she mimics my voice. "I love the dress. Matter of fact, I love okay." I stop her. "I got it." She chuckles to my discomfort. "Don't worry. My mother subtly mentioned she overheard your father and I numerous times." "Okay, that I did not need to know." She lets out a soft laugh. "I'm just saying, it's normal when it comes to your mate." She smiles and I return one. Dropping my gaze to my hands, I remember how badly I didn't want to admit he was my mate. Now look at him in my guts. "Mom," the door opens a little and Tilly's head pokes and Dad says it's time. She disappears and my mother stands. "Time to introduce you to the pack," she says sweetly to her baby, and I move to the door, opening it for her. I follow. Not far behind her put Spot, Bailey and Tomas talking, so I make my way towards them. We stand near the back as the cling of a glass echoes around the room, calming everyone. "Welcome everyone. My father starts first. I would like to start by thanking each and every one of you for coming. My wife and I are absolutely grateful to have you all here." He pauses. I turn to some subtle movement to see Saint making his way to me. With his pack. "We have gathered here today to celebrate the birth of our first son. But first, let's go down the timeline a little." Saint stops next to me as we share soft smiles. When Catherine passed, I never thought anyone would accept a widower with a newborn, and then there was 𝐊𝐤𝐲. She decided to take me in as a whole with my child. Together we were able to raise Alpha Nadia into the powerful woman she is today. I feel Saint's hand on my lower back, and it just rests there soon after. She just kept giving me beautiful daughters that I got to raise. So we're not powerful women. Bailey mumbles under her breath, making Tilly, Tomas, Saint and I smile. After 14 years and 3 miscarriages, 𝐊𝐤𝐲 finally came to me with the news she was pregnant. Out of fear she would lose the baby again, she made me promise I would not speak a word of it until she was showing. When she was, I sang it to the world. Now, like many of you, I was expecting a cute baby girl to be brought into this world. Not this time. For my last child, 𝐊𝐤𝐲 gave me my first son, and I will forever be grateful. To 𝐊𝐤𝐲, he raises his glass and the crowd does the same. Saint and I don't, since we don't have glasses to raise, but we watch the close ones near us as they do, and to us. For still making photocopies. He smiles at Alpha Vincent. He gives his glass to Mom and she holds it with one hand as he takes the baby out her other. Meet Nathaniel 𝐊𝐲𝐬. He lifts the baby up a little. To Nathaniel 𝐊𝐲𝐬. People cling thief glasses and clap. I join with the clapping. So does Saint, letting my lower back go. I look over at him for a second. Maybe I won't bear his children, or maybe I'll give him a tone. All I know is for now, I'm what he wants, and that's okay with me. I've got my pack, my family, and now a new addition. This I can live with. This is enough. Chapter 46. So I've taken all the constructive criticisms into deep consideration, and here I am making amends. Hope you enjoy. Keep the advice coming. 2 weeks later. I enter the mansion knowing that Saint is probably in the home gym working out. Recently we've been spending most of our time in this mansion and I don't mind it. Turns out I was right. I move to our room and step inside the bathroom. I run myself a shower before stepping in. Soon exams are going to start. It's not like I started at the start of the year anyways, and now I have to endure the same exams as the people in my year. Once I'm done, I move to our room and enter the walk-in closet. I've already picked out a dark blue silk dress. When Saint walks in, I catch him watching me curl the ends of my hair before he moves towards me, getting ready for Tomas' birthday brunch. I nod as a response. 𝐊𝐤𝐬, I stop him from getting any closer. You're like sweaty and all. Why you getting all dolled up for a brunch that I'm not even invited to? He takes it upon himself to lean against me. Because I push him off yet again. Afterwards is a family dinner. I told you to make amends with Tomas. Have you done that yet? I look at him through the mirror. His silence is enough of an answer for me. There you go, reason A to why you're not invited. Can I at least get a kiss? Go shower first. I shoo him off. I'll be here when you're done. He starts to move away from me, taking his sweet time before finally turning and going to shower. I'm the time he takes to shower. I do my makeup and start to get ready. Saint wanders back in, fresh this time, with a towel at his waist and another in his hands drying his hair. So I'll just meet you at school tomorrow. I'm probably gonna just stay at home or at Tomas for the night. He stops in front of me. What do you think? Leaning in, he takes my hand and twirls me, my cheeks spread from ear to ear. What you wearing under that? That is no question you ask a lady. Okay, a smirk plays on his lips. How about I help you take this off? His hands move to the end of my dress mid-thigh, so I can see for myself. He puts our lips together, smudging my fresh coat of lip gloss. He moves a hand traveling up my thigh. I'm going to be late, I moan in between kisses. I'll make it fast. His lips press harder onto mine. Saint, alright, he chuckles, letting me go. I can feel the string pulling me back to him, but I need to go. Alright. His eyes burn through me as I watch him raise his thumb to his bottom lips as he drags the lip gloss off. I move past him before I can go against myself and grab my already purse before heading back down. I take my keys and leave, moving to my parked car. Before driving off, I fix whatever mess Saint made, then go. Hey birthday boy. Tomas enters my car, already shaking his head. He's in a white business shirt with trousers a shade darker than the blue my dress is. I can't believe I let you talk me into this, and don't call me that. I watch how his hair bounce as he gets comfortable. Damn, I scan him. Girls better watch out for this 18-year-old. Stop it. He avoids eye contact with me as I start moving. So the plan for after, I nod. Dinner at my place where you can meet my aunt, and then it's whatever. Okay, yeah, that sounds decent. I take a right on my way back home to pick up my sisters. Before dinner we have a plan to have brunch as a pack, then we go mini golfing. So now that you're 18 it should be easier for you to find your mate, right? I glance over at him. Actually, I've already found my mate. Oh, yeah, but she rejected me a while back. Oh, she didn't want to be mated with a lone wolf, he nods. I did get a chance to, we share a glance mate with her. No matter how good the sex was, she was never really into me. In the end I still didn't have a pack and she just left. And after rejection she's just free to go. I question keeping my eyes on the road. God no, he laughs. With no real reason to reject me, the void in me grew more profound than ever. I feel it till this day. Heavy shit to carry. She must feel it too, right? The void. I don't know, I've never know how she really felt about me. Now that I'm 18, he sighs. I hope she comes back, he scoffs, or at least comes to her senses. He shakes his head out. Not like you though, I eye him coming to a park. It's not like I mated to your sworn nemesis. I've been trying to talk to him about that. No need, his green eyes stick to mine. Arrogant wolves we are, remember. I part my lips to protest, but my eyes linger on two figures coming our way. Dad wants to wish Tomas a happy birthday. Tilly knocks through his window. I have no choice but to unlock the car and we follow my sisters back up. Dad, Tomas here. 𝐊𝐚𝐤. Tomas shoots me a look before letting Tilly drag him away. Ma. I move up the stairs and knock softly on her door. I don't get an answer and take it upon myself to wander in. The room is surprisingly clean to what it was like when Tilly was born. Stepping in I see tiny legs squirming around. Nathaniel whines before erupting into a fit crying. Chapter 47. Hey, no, don't cry. I pick him up with him still wailing. Hey, 𝐿𝐤𝐬, I got you. He's a feather in my arms wrapped in white baby clothes. You hungry? I sway him. Is that what it is? Nadia. My mother comes in with a towel and damp hair. Oh good, I thought all of you guys were already gone. She moves across the room, disappearing into her closet. Nathan, I lift him at eye level. His pink lips part in another cry as his tongue vibrates with the volume. I turn him to sniff his butt but get only a whiff of baby powder. Okay then. I start moving to go downstairs and go in the fridge where 2 bottles are already done. Okay, hold on. I see an empty bottle. Picking it up I go to open a cupboard where we keep all our water bottles and grab one. I work with my left hand filling the empty bottle with water. You thirsty? All that crying must have you dehydrated. I move him, laying his head in the nook of my arm, then give him the bottle. There you go. He's desperate to suck on the bottle. I blow softly on his pink face and watch him blink more tears out. Yeah, you were thirsty, huh? I rub my pinky across his cheek, drying his face. He's been crying no stop. Bailey walks in, taking a seat. It's starting to drive me a little crazy. He's not that bad. I watch how his eyes flutter open and blue stare back at me before they close lazily. Easy for you to say. If you're not here helping mom or with us, you stay with that boyfriend of yours. I roll my eyes at her comment. Mom really needs to get him a pacifier. No, mom walks in. No, I don't. Hey there, she takes Nathan for me. You guys should get going. Where's Tomas? Bailey spins off her chair and moves out the kitchen. I follow her out. He's still with Dad. Yeah, Tilly answers. Did you guys get him a gift? Yes. Although we agreed on no gifts. Tomas walks back and cutting Bailey off. I don't look at him, avoiding any eye contact, and start moving towards our elevator. Leaning in, Tilly tilts her head to Tomas' ear. You'll love mine. Staring at his back, the only reaction I get is him shaking his head slightly. I promise you. She holds out her pink and I'm just in view to see him warp his own, which is twice her size, around hers in a promise. We reach my car and set off to a cute place where we spend the hour laughing and talking before we set off to our second location, mini golfing. Do you even know how to play? Tomas rolls up his sleeves, leaving his bare forearms out. You use the golf club to hit the golf ball into the hole. I reach out to grab a golf club. Right. I don't know. He lets out a laugh and I turn to Bailey, joining him. I call dibs on going against Nadia first. Bailey rushes to get the next golf club. A ball is thrown at Tomas and he places it in front of me. I just hit it right. Right. He watches me ready myself. I part my legs to steadying my feet before I grip the club. No, I shoot up at Tomas. Your hand needs to be a little higher. I move my hand higher. Higher. He moves to me and towers behind me. Here. The tip of my left palm lines with the end of the golf club. I can tell with everything he's got, he's trying not to lean into me. Left in front of right. He warps my hands around the club in correct positioning before moving swiftly. That looks about right. Do you play, Tomas? I listen to Tilly ask. Not really. He turns his back to me and I go back to focusing on my target before I swing for the hit. My ball gets a little too far, but I seem to be better than Bailey herself. Both of our lack of experience makes the game a little more interesting, also the fact that we're not playing by the rules. Tomas, on the other hand, knows exactly what he's doing. I know damn well he's played before. It's not long before we set off back to his house where his aunt is already setting up in the kitchen. You should have let me help. I take the seat she offered me as Tomas and my sister sit down too. Nonsense. She smiles. Unlike Tomas, her hair is a deep shade of copper and her eyes as dark as mud. To me, she's looked so unhealthily slim, but no one else seemed to notice. Your guests. She finally takes her seat. A quick prayer if you don't mind. Of course we don't. I flash Bailey a look, who's already picking her fork up. I watch Tomas aunt how her head and I do the same. Thank you, Lord, for this good you give us. We pray you keep providing for us, and the next day we see ourselves at another table. We won't forget to thank you. Amen. Amen. We echo after her before digging into the dish she made us. I look down to see a smoky fish situation going on. I know all too well how much Nia hates fish, but I'm going to have to force it down for the event. I was so very excited when Tomas told me he finally found an alpha willing enough to take him in. I look up at her words. Thank you. I know how much of a handful he can be, Cheryl. Tomas mutters, keeping his eyes on his plate. Both my sister let out short giggles. I start to dig into my fish, making sure to swallow it down with water so it doesn't force itself back up. Chapter 48. If you don't mind me asking, I've been informed you're mated with Malik Salvador. Yes. I reply before filling my mouth. Given the history he and Tomas share, has there been any talk of merging packs? The question catches me completely off guard. I open my mouth, catching myself before No, we haven't discussed that yet. I know it has to happen sooner or later, but I didn't think people were expecting it so soon. We haven't even discussed it yet. I scan my own pack. Do they even want to merge with them? The only time we saw them was my brother's party. Tilly speaks up. They tend to really stay together. Like they make you feel excluded even when you're there with them. I remember Bailey already said that to me. It took quite the convincing to change her mind about them. Just like Saint, his pack is cold and ruthless at times. They have no filter sometimes, and that could give others a wrong impression of them. I don't even know how I feel about his pack. I'm sure the subject will come up. When it does, I'll personally inform you on the matter. I try warping the subject up in hopes we can move on. Of course, Cheryl nods and the sound of our utensils scratching our plates rings in the air. So girls, how is it having your big sister as your alpha? The only difference is now that she's a little bossier, it's harder to say no. Tilly's comments takes a chuckle out of everyone. For some time we keep talking, and then Tomas and I go do the dishes while Bailey and Tilly stay chatting with Tomas' aunt. She likes you. Tomas takes a plate I hand him as I go to pick up another to rinse. You think so? Yeah, he rubs the plate dry before placing down. I think it's your honesty she appreciates. I smile to that as I hand him another. You're not seriously considering merging, are you? I knew his silence at the table was too good to be true. You think it's a bad idea? He murdered my previous alpha, of course I think it's a bad idea. His outburst silences me. I won't serve under that bastard. I didn't, it's fine. I hand him another plate. Our talk fades with the sound of dishes smacking together and the light of our breathing. I don't blame him for hating Saint so much. What he did was more than crossing the line. It makes sense to resent him. It's not like Saint was my favorite person when I met him. It did take more than a little convincing than to tolerate him. At this rate, I should just get the both of them to talk it out. I don't know what else I can do. Are you guys done? Bailey wanders back in. Yeah, we are. Tomas finishes his plate. Good. We both follow Bailey back into the living space where Tilly is sitting on the soft rug, with a warp gift in front of her. Sit. She beckons us over and we all move. Because I'm wearing a dress, I can't particularly cross my legs, so I have to be careful about my positioning. It's small. Cheryl brings out a box. But it belonged to your father, so, reaching out to Tomas, hands him the black ring box and he takes it. Thank you. He wears a small satisfied smile as he opens it. Shoot her a quick glance. He picks up the ring, a black titanium ring. Wow. He slips it on his right middle finger, then shows it off. Was this his? No. His aunt is quick to reply. No, it isn't. I scan between them. Was he about to say wedding ring? Tomas hugs his aunt before I get the chance to ask. My turn. Tilly shrieks. I guess I always have time to ask later. My eyes wander back to my little sister, and she pushes a case in front of him and he leans in to start unwrapping it. The more paper he tears, the more I can tell just exactly what type of bag it is. Him opening the bag fills the silence before we're all looking down at a brand new pair of tennis rackets. Wow, we know you suck, but that could always change. Something about Tomas' genuine laugh sounds like it's formed the heart. I even got it customized, look. She takes it upon herself to turn the racket and point to the handle. In white is Tomas' full name embroidered in a neat italic handwriting. We've only played with him twice ever since he joined the pack. It's always been a tradition we made and now he's a part of it. I do love it. Come here. He takes her in for a hug and my gaze lands on his beaming aunt. Here. It's Bailey's turn and she pushes a small bag in front of him. He takes it and starts to remove the tissue paper before digging inside to pull out a cologne bottle. Not that you stink or anything. I don't think I've seen Tomas' smile grow so wide. No, he chuckles, thank you. He pushes down, letting on puff out so we can all take a whiff. It's strong but has a wild virile hint to it. With him starting to pack, his aunt stand to go fetch the gift. I had to sneak in. Okay, so it's not a lot, but at least his way you can't say I don't listen when you talk. So you mentioned on multiple occasions how you'd love to learn how to ride a bike like mine, so. Cheryl comes back in with a box and I help shove it to him. No way. He pulls the box to him. No fucking way. Oh God, excuse me. His shoulder rise, adding a few inches to him as he lifts the cover off. My own helmet. He takes it out and starts to examine it. You just need a provisional license to drive a bike and then nothing's in your way of learning. I'm taken back from the force of being pressed into him chest. Whoa. I'm lifted off the ground to be snug a little. You're welcome, I guess. Thank you. Thank you all. He lets go to hug his aunt again and I nod to him. With a change of heart, I drop my sister's back off, then head back to the mansion. Nia isn't the only one that's been missing him throughout dinner. Entering the house, I put my keys down and make my way up to our room. Saint sits on our bed with two screens in front of him, one of his laptop and another of his phone. As soon as my body comes to view, he looks up from his phone. You came back. The light from his phone shuts and he sits up. Yeah, I moved to him. Surprised. I read his face. A little. He reaches out to me when I'm close enough, then pulls me forth. But I'm glad you're here. Our lips meet and he takes me down to him. His hands run up the fabric of my dress as I'm pressed down on top of him into a straddle. I take his face into my hands, deepening the kiss. He tug on me, absenting the space that was between our bodies. My stomach knots with nerves just feeling his fingers slip into my dress. My lips start to swell at how desperate and wet the kiss is growing.